Here we have paper. Doesn't have to be anything in particular. In this case, this is a notebook that I was using for language learning. But I'd like to open it up and show you how you could use this to support self-care. The first thing that I would emphasize is really valuable about this technique is that you're trying to first become more aware of what you're actually doing. So often we write up to-do lists that emphasize all the things we want to do, all the things we feel like we should be doing. Instead, I'd like to slow that part of this practice and focus more on what you are already doing. So, if we imagine starting up a new day, and we'll just say that today is January of this year, 2025, 0101. As you notice, my handwriting isn't great, and it doesn't need to be. In this case, the goal of the journal is to write down what's important and valuable to us. So maybe we get up that day and we write down one thing that we want to keep track of. So for example, what's one thing that we could do that would really make that day a success? And I'm going to say going on a 10-minute jog. Okay. In this case, we're using a dot to say that this is a task. This is something we want to complete. After this, maybe we have to take our child to school. Now, I used a circle to indicate that this is an event. This is some activity that I'm doing, not simply a task to complete. Maybe I have a meeting. And maybe I come out of that meeting wanting to remember that, oh yes, I have to complete this other task. Maybe I need to call my coworker. Now, once I'm done making that call, I can cross out that dot and thus indicate that this is complete. Maybe along the way, I was able to complete that 10-minute jog as well. This is the general idea, that you can simply write down what is drawing your attention, what is on your mind right now, or keeping track of the energy that we are exerting. The hope then is that at the end of this day, you can look back, you can reflect on this list of activity and say, what was important to me that day? What gave me energy? Maybe you get to the end of the day and you're feeling really tired. So the bullet that we will use for this is an equal sign, where we might keep track of our feelings. And we might say, yeah, I'm feeling really tired. It's been a rough day. Why do I think that was? Well, maybe I think, and for our thoughts or interpretations, we'll use a dash. Maybe it's because, well, work was stressful, or maybe I was feeling anxious. About a conflict with my spouse. Once we see this, it asks the question then, what would be valuable in turn? What is something that could help us with these things? Well, if we're feeling anxious, maybe that means that's the task we need to set is setting aside time to discuss it. Maybe what we need is to relax a little bit more before going to sleep. So we'll make the night a little bit easier. These tasks don't always fix it, but they're intended to provide you with little experiments that you can run to figure out what works and what doesn't. If we're looking back on the end of the day and saying, boy, I felt really tired today, what does that say about tomorrow? Maybe we want to start out tomorrow saying, the 10-minute jog was nice, but I could really use a little bit more time in prayer. Maybe an extra 10 minutes in prayer today. This is the general idea of how we can keep track. There's two pieces. One, being present to where we are now. What's important to you at this very moment? Where are you wanting to put your time, your energy, your effort? And then secondarily, the practice of reflecting back. Often when we do write, we write to just get it down on paper, and then when we look back later, we find ourselves disappointed. I myself have experienced of writing out lengthy to-do lists that are never fully complete. So I'm constantly looking down and seeing all the things that I haven't done yet. I found it valuable with this kind of setup to keep track of the activities of the day separate from the tasks I want to complete at some point in the future. Because if I have a task that I need to get done today, I will get done today, then yeah, I'll write it here. But if not, I can simply flip the page and write out a list of tasks there. This kind of approach to tracking your time isn't meant to simply focus on the things you wish you were doing, but on the things that are important to you now. And so much of self-care is about drawing attention to what is truly important to you right now, to recognize what you need and to be willing to try things to address those needs. We are generally not surprised by the things we quote unquote should be doing. I think in general we spend much more time telling ourselves what we should be doing. But if we draw attention to what we are doing, it actually gives us a much deeper and more valuable base or structure for change. Thanks for spending this time with me.